Hello everyone. Today we will be talking in depth about the history of gaming and how it has developed over the years. Our main goal is to share the insights of gaming with you. And these are the topics that we will be talking about in this presentation. The term gaming in its many forms has been preset in human history for generations. So it's very difficult to narrow down exactly when it was introduced to the world to a single moment, as it has developed over centuries across different cultures. Traditional games like physical activity games, board and dice games have been played for thousands of years. These early games played by ancient civilizations were usually served as a way to pass the time, test skills, and provide social interactions and build connections. In the context of electronic gaming, one of the pioneers often credited with creating the concept of video games is William Higginbotham. In 1958, Higginbotham developed a simple tennis simulation game called Tennis for Two as a demonstration for visitors to the Brookhaven National Laboratory in New York. It was displayed on an oscilloscope screen and could be played with a basic controller. However, the video game industry as we know it today really began to take shape in the 1970s and 1980s. Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney are often credited with founding the modern video game industry when they created the arcade game Pong in 1972. The simple table tennis simulation became a hit and marked the beginning of the video game's popularity. The first video game ever created is Space War. It was developed in 1962 by a group of computer scientists at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Space War is a two-player space combat game in which players control spaceships and engage in a battle in the gravity well of a star. The game was created on the Program Data Processor 1, which was one of the earliest computers available. It utilized vector graphics and was a significant achievement in interactive computing. Space War laid the groundwork for future video games and demonstrated the potential of using computers for interactive entertainment. While Space War is considered one of the earliest video games, it's important to note that the concept of interactive electronic entertainment predates it. For example, OXO, which people in other parts of the world call tic-tac-toe or noughts and crosses, was a computer game developed by Alexander Douglas in 1952 for the ETSAC computer at Cambridge University. OXO allowed players to play the classic game of tic-tac-toe against the computer.
The video game era. Gaming has evolved over the years, changing from simple games to complex and immersive experiences. Here's a simple breakdown of how gaming has mainly evolved. From the 1960s to 70s, the very first video games were very basic and often text based. They also used simple graphics. They were mainly developed for research purposes or as experiments. Games like Space War and Pong fall into this category. After that, there is the 1980s to 1990s era, where home consoles and computer gaming dominated. Companies like Atari, Nintendo, and Sega introduced home gaming consoles. These consoles offered a wider variety of games with improved graphics and gameplay. PCs also became popular for gaming, with classics like Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and Sonic the Hedgehog. 3D gaming and advancements happened in the late 1990s to the early 2000s. The transition to 3D graphics was a big leap. Games like Super Mario 64 and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time showcased the potential of 3D worlds. This era also saw the rise of Sony's PlayStation consoles with the release of the PlayStation 1. Online and multiplayer gaming took over the 2000s to 2010s era. The growth of the internet enabled online multiplayer gaming. Massive multiplayer online games or MMO like World of Warcraft gained a huge following. Consoles like Xbox and PlayStation introduced online services. Then came virtual reality and augmented reality, which just happened at the early 2010s to the present. VR and AR technologies added a different dimension to gaming, allowing players to immerse themselves in virtual worlds or blend game elements with the real world. With next gen consoles and realism, which is happening into the next 2020s and beyond. Current and upcoming gaming technology promises more realistic graphics, faster loading times, and enhanced gameplay, which gives off a unique experience. Consoles like PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X showcase these advancements. Programming language that is used to create video games. Here are a few programming languages that are commonly used to create games, explained by myself in an easy way for you to understand. First of all, we have Scratch. This is like building with blocks. You can drag and drop colorful blocks to make the characters move, jump, and do fun things. It's great for beginners and helps you understand the basics of programming. Next up is Python. Think of this as a friendly snake that helps you create games. It's easy to learn and read, making it good for beginners. You can create simple games using libraries like Pygame, Unity Engine. Unity is like a game building playground. You use C hashtag to give instructions to your game objects. It's more powerful and can make 2D and 3D games. There are lots of tutorials to help you learn. Godot or GD script. Imagine a magical land where you can make games with a special script called GD script. Godot is like a secret treasure for indie game creators. It's easy to use and lets you make all sorts of games. Lastly, JavaScript. Think of this as the language of the web. With libraries like Phaser, you can make games that you can play in your browser. It's cool for making simple games that people can easily play online.
Gaming companies that contributes to evolution of gaming. Nintendo played a big role in shaping the gaming industry. They introduced iconic characters like Mario and Zelda, and their consoles like the NES, Super NES, and Nintendo 64 set the standards for gaming experience. Second, Sega consoles like the Sega Genesis and Sonic the Hedgehog franchise brought fierce competition to Nintendo, shaping the console war of the 1990s. Sony Interactive Entertainment, Sony PlayStation Series rivalization gaming in the 1990s and 2000s. The PlayStation advanced graphics and broad game library introduced gaming to a wide audience. Valve Corporation. Valve is known for its influential game like Half-Life, as well as the digital distribution platform Steam, which changed the way games are bought and played. Blizzard Entertainment. Blizzard's game like Warcraft, Starcraft, and World of Warcraft shaped the real-time strategy and MMO genres, creating memorable gaming worlds. Electronic Arts EA has played a significant role in sport gaming with franchises like FIFA and NFL, and has produced various influential games across different genres.
Next, we will talk about the technologies in gaming, that is virtual reality. VR in gaming offers a level of immersion and interaction that traditional gaming cannot replicate. Its ability to create lifelike environments, innovative gameplay mechanics, and immersive social experience that has made it popular amongst the gamer and has driven it the growth of VR gaming industry. So how VR helps gaming better? The first one is more realistic fun. VR games just make you feel like you are actually in the game world. You can look around, move, and interact with things just like in the real life. This makes playing games way more exciting and realistic. The second one is immersive adventures. With VR, you are not just watching the game, you are inside the game. Imagine you are being in a magical forest or in a spaceship. It's like going on an adventure in your living room. The third one is better connection. VR games can help you connect with friends and family in new ways. Even they are far away, it feels like you are hanging out together in the same virtual space. Learning and training will also cause a virtual reality becomes the popular in technology in gaming. VR isn't only for fun. It can also help you learn new things. Imagine you are practicing a surgery or flying a plane in a safe virtual environment. The fifth is new experience. VR let you experience things you might never get to do in your real life, like climbing the Mount Everest or exploring the ancient cities. It's like a time machine that takes you to different places and times. The sixth one is health and fitness. Some VR games get you moving and jumping, making gaming a healthy activity. Next, we will talk about the gaming in business. Creating a business using games involving developing, marketing, and selling games to generate revenue. Here's an easy breakdown of how businesses are made using games. The first one is game development that works to bring the game to the life. Investment and founding to support the game development. Marketing strategy to generate excitement and anticipation. Distribution platform that makes the game available for purchase or download. Post-launch support that keeps players engaged and invest in the game. Licensing and merchandising to contributing to additional revenue streams. Esport and tournament to earn revenue through sponsorship, ticket sales, and broadcasting right. Collaboration that can attracting new players and generating interest. Next slide, we will talk about the main type of video game. The first one is action game that often involving combat, shooting, and intense movement. Examples are include the Call of Duty and Devil May Cry. Next is adventure games that will usually follow a narrative and make choices that affect the outcome. The example include the Legend of Zelda series and Life is Strange. The role-playing games, or known as RPG, that often involve characters development, quests, and strategic combat. Examples are include the Final Fantasy, the Elder Scrolls, and Mass Effect. The strategy game that usually challenge players to plan and make decisions to achieve specific goals, including the games is StarCraft, Civilization, and XCOM. Next is sports and racing games. These games simulate sports like soccer, basketball, and racing. The examples are include the FIFA, NBA 2K, and Gran Turismo. The last one is horror games. The horror games aim to scare or unsettle players by creating a tense and frightening atmosphere. The examples are include the Silent Hills, Resident Evil, and Amnesia, The Dark Descent.
So how does the system operate when you play online multiplayer games? What goes on behind the screen when you're interacting with different players around the world? The game you're playing uses powerful computers called servers to manage online gameplay. These servers handle matchmaking, player interactions, and maintaining the game world. This is called server infrastructure. You need to have an account for the games that you want to play online, so the game servers verify your identity and can grant you permission to access multiplayer features. This is called player authentication. Game state synchronization is when the server syncs the game state across all connected players, ensuring everyone experiences the same events. When you move or chat as you're playing, this input is sent as data packets to the server, and it processes these inputs and updates the game state accordingly, so that the other players can receive this data, and it registers for them as well. Latency is the time it takes for the data to travel between your device and the server. Ping measures this time. Lower latency results in smoother gameplay and less lag. Clients, which your devices are referred to as, and servers exchange data all the time to keep the game synchronized for everyone playing. There are anti-cheat measures in place that prevent players from cheating and having unfair advantages. Players can communicate using voice and chat systems that also use data packets to be synchronized. Servers manage the load by spreading out players across multiple instances. This prevents overcrowding and crashing of servers. Developers release updates to fix bugs and add new features. These updates are downloaded to your device and sometimes require server maintenance. User interface is what displays information like scores and player stats, which can be changed and toggled by the player.
Split screen gaming. Split screen gaming is a way to play multiplayer video games on a single screen where the screen is divided into sections, each showing the game view for a different player. Here's how split screen gaming works. Screen division. In split screen mode, the main game screen is divided into separate sections, each showing the perspective of different players. The screen can be split horizontally or vertically depending on the game and the number of players. A player views. Each section of the split screen shows the game view from the perspective of a specific player. This allows multiple players to see their own characters' actions and surroundings. Multiplayer experience. Split screen gaming is often used for local multiplayer, where players are in the same physical location. It lets players compete against or cooperate with each other directly on the same screen. Gameplay limitations. Split screen gaming can result in smaller individual views for each player, making it more important for the game to maintain good visibility and playability. Some games might limit the view distance or details to accommodate the split screen. Cooperative and competitive play. Split screen gaming supports both cooperative and competitive play. Players can work together to achieve goals or compete against each other in races, battles, or other challenges.
Next, we will talk about how gamings contribute to our community. Video games have created our diverse and vibrant community that brings people together based on our shared interests, gameplays, and experience. Here are the few types of community that gamings have created. The first one is esport communities. Competitive gamings have given rise to esport communities. Fans follow professional players, teams, and tournaments. Esport communities have dedicated websites, streaming platform and event where fans gather to watch and support their favorite player and teams. The second one is streaming and content creation communities. Platforms like Twitch and YouTube has enabled gamers to become content creators. Streamers and YouTubers build community of viewers who enjoy watching them play games, provide commentary, and share gaming tips. The third one is local gaming communities. Local gaming communities organize meetups, LAN parties, and gaming events where players comes together to play, compete, and socialize in person. Next is charity and fundraising communities. Gamers often come together to raise their funds for charitable causes through events like gamings, marathons, and charity streams. Next is educational communities. Educational games has created the community focused on learning. Teachers and parents often collaborate to find suitable games for educational purpose. Next one is the gaming collectors communities. Collectors of gaming memorabilia, consoles, and games connect with, share their collection, trade items, and discuss their passion for preserving gaming history. These communities showcase the social and collaborative nature of gaming, where players with shared interests come together to form connection, exchange ideas, and enjoy their favorite hobby in various ways. Next, we will move around to the esports team that contribute to the evolution of gaming. Several esports teams have made their significant contribution to the evolution of gaming through their achievement, innovation, and impact on the industry. Here are the few notable esports teams that have played a role in shaping the landscape of competitive gaming. The first one is TSM, that played a crucial role in popularizing competitive gaming in North America and set the benchmark for team organization and player management. The second one is Fnatic. The Fnatic is a European esports organization that has excellence across multiple titles, including League of Legends, Counter-Strike, and more. Their CSGO team have been a consistent presence of top of the competitive scene, contributing the growth of FPS esports. Next is San Francisco Shock. This team is a professional Overwatch team that has been dominant in the Overwatch League, or known as OWL. Their strategic approach to coaching, player development, and teamwork has set a benchmark of excellence in team-based FPS esports. The fourth team is SK Telecom T1, now known as T1. T1 is a South Korean esports organization that gained the prominence through its success in League of Legends. With multiple World Championship victories that this team owned, this organization set a high standard for the excellence and teamwork in competitive gaming. Before we end our group presentation, let me introduce our group member. I'm Wei Hong that take part in the slide creation. Next is Abdul Rahman that play the role as a team leader to distribute our job and support us anytime. The third member, that is Parvil Singh Kosa, or known as Patrick, is the one who help us in video editing and voice editing. Lastly, our fourth member is Sanjar. He is in charge of information researcher that provide us the info to complete the presentation.